There are moments in life that split your story into two parts. The life you lived before that moment, and the life you were forced to live after it. For me, that moment happened at my own sister's wedding. In front of nearly 200 guests, my mother looked directly at me and said one word that echoed louder than the wedding music ever could. Defect. She said it with the same calm expression she used when discussing the weather, as if she was simply stating a fact instead of destroying what little remained of our relationship. My sister stood beside her in a white wedding gown, looked me up and down, and quietly whispered that I was not invited. What neither of them knew was that the groom himself had invited me, and before the reception was over, every lie my family had spent decades protecting would begin to crumble in front of the very people whose respect mattered most to them. My name is Grace Carter. I am 28 years old, and for almost a decade my family acted as if I had never existed. They erased me from conversations, photographs, celebrations, and even the story they told the world about themselves. If someone asked how many children my parents had, the answer was always one. My older sister Madison. My name disappeared as if it had never belonged to that family at all. But the truth has a strange way of surviving, even when people spend years trying to bury it. It waits patiently for the perfect moment to reveal itself. And that perfect moment arrived on the most important day of my sister's life. The truth is, this story did not begin inside a beautiful ballroom filled with flowers and expensive decorations. It started 10 years earlier inside the house where I grew up. My family came from generations of respected doctors. Every hallway was decorated with framed diplomas, medical certificates, and awards that stretched back almost 100 years. Those frames were more than decorations. They were reminders that every member of our family had one responsibility: continue the legacy. At the end of that hallway hung one empty frame. It belonged to me. My mother always smiled whenever I looked at it and said it would be filled one day, but only after I earned my place by becoming a doctor. In our house, success earned love, failure earned silence, and kindness was never considered an achievement. I never wanted to become a doctor. I admired medicine, but my heart belonged somewhere else. I wanted to care for people in a more personal way. I wanted to become a nursing assistant, spend my days helping patients who had been forgotten, and make difficult moments easier for families. To me, that work mattered just as much as performing surgery. To my parents, it was proof that I lacked ambition. The distance between us grew larger every day until my high school graduation dinner became the moment everything changed forever. Instead of celebrating my graduation, my parents turned the evening into a celebration for Madison acceptance into medical school. They toasted her future while my own accomplishments disappeared into the background. Then my mother looked around the room, smiled proudly, and joked that one daughter inherited the family brilliance, while the other simply managed to graduate. The room filled with uncomfortable laughter. I remember staring down at my plate, pretending not to hear the whispers around me. Later that night, my mother walked me to the hallway, pointed toward the empty frame, and reminded me that love in our family had to be earned. I looked her in the eyes and quietly told her the frame could stay empty forever because I was never going to medical school. Something changed in her face at that moment. She did not yell. She simply decided I no longer belonged. The only person who ever made me feel worthy was my grandmother Ruth. She had spent 40 years working as a nurse, caring for patients through the hardest nights of their lives without ever asking for recognition. Before I left home, she placed her old nursing watch on my wrist and said something I did not fully understand until years later. Nobody earns love, sweetheart. Real love is given freely. Those words stayed with me long after I walked away from everything I had ever known. A few months later, my parents gave away my college fund to Madison and told me I had two choices: follow the family path or leave the house forever. I packed everything I owned into 2 trash bags and walked out the front door without looking back. My mother called after me and said I was choosing to become nobody. I stopped, turned around one last time, and told her I was choosing to become someone she would never have the right to judge. That was the last conversation we had for 9 years. Starting over was harder than I ever imagined. I worked long overnight shifts caring for elderly patients who could no longer care for themselves. The work was exhausting, but every thank you reminded me I had chosen the right path. Watching families struggle to find dependable caregivers inspired me to start my own home care company. I invested every dollar I saved, worked every position myself, and slowly built a business based on compassion instead of reputation. Within a few years, my company employed hundreds of caregivers across several states, helping thousands of families during the most difficult seasons of their lives. Ironically, I had built the kind of legacy my parents always wanted, just in a way they never respected. During those years, I met Dr. Daniel Carter, a trauma surgeon who admired my work instead of looking down on it. He saw strength where others saw weakness and believed kindness was just as valuable as talent. We married in a simple backyard ceremony surrounded by people who genuinely loved us. I even mailed an invitation to my parents. They opened it, wrote one cruel sentence across it, sealed it back up, and mailed it to me. Do not embarrass yourself. Even after that, I continued sending them a Christmas card every year, hoping one day they might remember they had another daughter. Everything changed when I received an unexpected invitation to Madison wedding. Unknown to any of us, the groom had built part of his career through a fellowship I anonymously funded in honor of my grandmother Ruth. During the wedding reception, he stood before everyone, thanked my husband for mentoring him, then thanked the anonymous woman who had paid for his education. Finally, he smiled, looked directly at me, and asked me to stand. The ballroom erupted in applause while my mother and sister stood frozen in disbelief. After spending 9 years pretending I did not exist, they were forced to watch an entire room celebrate the daughter they had erased. That single moment destroyed every lie they had built. My sister accidentally admitted I had never been invited. My mother desperately tried to explain everything away, but the truth had already escaped. Later, she offered me everything I had wanted as a teenager. Holidays, family dinners, and finally a place in the family once I helped protect their reputation. I simply smiled and told her the empty frame could stay empty forever because I had already built my own wall filled with people who loved me without conditions. Today, my home looks nothing like the house where I grew up. My walls are covered with photographs instead of diplomas. Every Sunday, my table is filled with friends, caregivers, neighbors, and family we chose through love instead of obligation. My grandmother watch still rests on my wrist, reminding me every day that love is never something you earn. It is something you give. If someone has ever made you feel like you had to prove your worth just to deserve a place at their table, remember this. You are not the empty frame they refuse to fill. You are the foundation of a completely different life, and sometimes walking away from the family that rejected you is the first step toward finding the family that truly sees you.